All right, so as promised this month, we are going to provide you some bonus techniques, typically from the north-south position. So the first one we're going to do is your north-south Kimura, which you can chain with your gift wrap back take. The only difference here is instead of doing the gift wrap where it's under the head, and I connect my figure 4 here, I'm going to get this Kimura grip, or in other words, my figure 4, over his head. So here is your north-south Kimura. Okay, so as we talked north-south this month, this one's probably one of the most demoralizing submissions you could be because someone's sitting on your face. But we're gonna get there. So I have to start on his back, right? So again, just because we talked about this month, we're gonna use our double underhooks to slide our partner onto his side. Now I can see his back, but I'm not gonna go for his back. I'm now gonna make my figure 4 on his top arm. Once I get my figure 4, I'm gonna do kind of what's called like a kind of a reverse technical mount, but instead, I'm gonna step right over his head this time with my foot that's behind him. Once I step my foot over his head, I'm gonna bring my knee down just like this. Last but not least, to finish the Kimura, I'm going to go up and over. So I'm gonna lift his arm up and gently over his back until he taps. One more time here. Okay, let's expose his back. Step 1, I get my double underhooks and I turn him onto his side. Step number 2, I get my figure 4 on his top arm. All right, I can drive into him to keep him on his side. I'm gonna step over his head now with my leg that's right behind his head and bring it down to the ground in my north-south. Last but not least, I'm gonna lift his arm up and over his back very gently until he taps. Just like this, keeping his tricep glued to my chest. And that is your north-south Kimura. All right, we talked about the back take this month from north-south, specifically the deadlift back take. I'm just gonna have Coach line up his knees down. Normally in side control, your knees would be up, but we're gonna have his knees down so you can see what I'm doing. First things first, we're gonna start in side control. So I'm head and arm, chest, knees in tight, but now I'm gonna transition to north-south. So I can take my arm out, and I go here. In other words, my chest is right over his face and the top part of his chest. Now that we're here, let's show you your, your north-south deadlift back take. All right. So, first things first for deadlift back take, you want to make sure your partner's head is also not entirely on your body, else you're going to be lifting out pretty much just solid weight. But first things first we're going to do, just turn this a little bit, is I want to start by getting my double underhooks. So I'm going to go right under his arms. But when I got my double underhooks, I'm actually going to use my underhooks here to grab his gi. Once I grab his lapels, I'm going to pull his lapels straight down. This will help me lift him up along with my double underhooks. Once I pull straight down, I'm going to drive his grips into his lower chest and walk him up with my knees. Once I walk up with his knees, I can keep pulling down until his head comes out. Once I'm here, I now throw in my hooks. I now have his back. And of course, I can adjust my seatbelt position to get a proper back control. Okay, starting north-south, start 1, double underhooks. Step 2, I'm gonna grab the collar here, or sorry, his lapels. I'm just gonna pull straight down as tight as I can. I'm not gonna use this to pull into his chest and walk up with my knees. All right, this will lift his head. Once his head is out, I'm gonna have him sit up. I'm gonna throw both my hooks in because I want my back control. And now we're here. At the very end, you can adjust to get your seatbelt as needed, just like so. And that is your deadlift back take from north-south. All right, last but not least, we have our north-south escape. So we talked about 2 in particular this month, depending on what our partner does with their grips and when they go to north-south. So what will happen right now is we're gonna talk about if our partner gets to north-south, like right nice and low, or they're right above us with our frames already in place. So, first thing we're gonna do, let's talk about the version where our partner grabs our legs and they move all the way around. Oh, yeah. Yep. All right, this is your first escape. Okay. For your first escape, this is where your partner's gonna grab your legs and go all the way around. Before you do this, of course, your partner has control of your legs. You wanna make sure you have proper frames to stop them from burying their chest on your face. So, if we are here and Coach Lamb grabs my legs and spin all the way around, right? I have my frames up here to block it, but eventually he's gonna drop down here, right? I'm gonna drop down so my forearms are framed. So, step one, have your forearm frames ready. Okay, once you're here, because he's grabbing my legs, I can't pull my knees in, right? Because he can easily frame me out just like this. But because he's pushing my legs away as I draw my knees in, that means his center of force is going the opposite way. So I have my frames here, but once I'm here, I can use my grips now from my arms. I can grab onto his hands, or not his hands, sorry, I'm gonna grab onto his gi. Once I have his gi, I'm gonna kick him straight away like this. If he holds on, he's gonna sweep, but now that he's here, I can turn, and I can get up. All right, he's here, he goes around. I have my forearm frames so he can't bury me with his chest. Once I'm here, I frame away. Step number two, I can now use my hands to grab onto his gi, and I'm gonna kick him away just like this. Right, he's gonna let go, but I'm still controlling his arms. I can now turn, and I can get up. Let's do one more time in real time here. That's the first example of our north-south escape there. We now have a second option as well. So this time, let's say my partner's not grabbing my legs, but he actually gets around to north-south. Okay, obviously I want to have my frames here, but if I don't, this is what happens. This is bad. So here is your other north-south escape. And we're here. So, let's have Mr. on top. Right, so, first things first, I want my frames. I want my forearms frames just like this. Once I have my forearm frames here, I'm gonna use my hands to push him up, land him into the air. Right, just like this. This opens up a lot of room. Now, there are two things you can do. You can use this to push, and you can turn towards your partner like so. And get your feet inside. Alternatively, you can invert and turn yourself. So I can push in with my hands, I can crisscross my legs, and turn to face my partner. So step one, I frame. Step two, I push. As I push, I lift my legs in and I invert. And I'm here. Right? Alternatively, if I can't invert, I frame, I push, I keep pushing, I turn with my legs, and I get to face my partner like this. So those are the two bonus escapes you covered this month from the north-south position. Those are all of your bonus techniques.